Time to get unscrewed here in the Kiwi studio. We do it, of course, with Jason Bryant at unscrewed.co.nz. Welcome back, Jason.
Thank you, Wammo.
And special guest for today, Chris Payne, director of Revenge of the Electric Car, back here in New Zealand.
Yeah, it's very nice to be here.
I was going to say back on the show because we had you a few months ago now, well before the documentary was on its way here. But I was interested to find out about the documentary. I think it's part of a show I was doing that day. But nice to have you here in New Zealand.
Well, it's nice to find that New Zealand's not just a conspiracy, that it actually is a country.
Well, hang on, weren't you here back in the early 80s?
That's true. But you can't trust your judgment back in the 80s.
This is true. Now, just to refresh, this is mine's about Revenge of the Electric Car. This was the follow-up documentary about why the electric car, basically, it was a happening thing in California, and then suddenly it disappeared. It was squashed by big oil, big company, big business, politics.
Yeah, we kind of caught them red-handed in the documentary, which is like, what you hope for as a documentary filmmaker, is to wow, the gun is smoking, here it is, and then we could show everybody.
Yeah.
And what the amazing thing that happened, well, I mean, it's amazing depending how you interpret it, is the gas prices started going up, and nobody wanted a giant SUV, and even in America, for a little window there was a moment when you didn't want one.
It was for a while, wasn't there? Yeah.
And the car company said, God, we better have something to sell that doesn't run on gasoline. So this put this internal pressure on, and we got access to several big car companies who said, if you're really going to do it, let us in behind the scenes. So we spent 3 years chasing very different kinds of people around car
entrepreneurs,
companies.
Right?
Yes, yeah. The guy Elon Musk, who started PayPal and sold it to eBay, so he made $1 billion.
Yeah.
And he decided, what are you going to do with the money? Am I going to buy a G5 or am I going to start an electric car company?
Is he the Tesla guy?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Elon Musk.
Yeah.
In fact, next week this guy is going to dock with the space station and with his private rocket ship company. So this is someone who's not like you or me with, or at least me with
$20.
There seems to be this trend at the moment with startup and tech entrepreneurs who are now using this money for good. I mean, James Cameron
and
the guys from this is great. The guys from Google are going to go and land on a moon rock or something.
I'd rather they actually did something with their money, constructive, rather than
fantastic.
An
that's
ego
furthering.
trip
That's
into
furthering.
space.
It's furthering human adventure and
we
travel.
could further human existence by trying to save the planet, right?
Yeah, I think this is part of it. It's part of the equation.
That's trying to take it away from the planet.
Well, Elon actually wants to, he thinks that we may be doomed here, so let's get our escape plan going. And
billionaires only.
Someone has to work on it.
I'm sorry, we can't go, but
But there'll be a select few, the elite.
On that one, at least on the space thing, the view is that right now the military and everybody spends trillions of dollars on their sort of government projects, so they can do this at 10% of the cost. So this is something that costs less, takes less fuel, and things like that. So there is a good side for that. But the film, of course, is about the electric car, and Elon's company Tesla has done very well for a startup car company, because you know what happens to car companies usually. They go out of business in a month. It's so expensive.
Isn't one of the characters that features Jason Calacanis?
Oh yes, Jason.
Yeah. Interesting character. He also made a lot of money in the .com days, didn't he?
He sure did, yeah.
And he's still involved with tech companies. But I saw him on TV the other night on Poker All Stars.
Oh, God, that figures.
Really?
Gambling some of that money away, yeah.
I mean, what else do you do with all those billions, right? Yeah.
He's actually set up a video network.
He's a search engine. Jason does, and he's the kind of guy that was twittering 10 times a day before Twitter started. So he's been very, very out there. We interviewed him at one of the big Tesla unveilings, and everybody was shooting Elon down. And he said, "Hey, you know what? Don't listen to the noise. Sometimes you just have to keep going."
Yeah, and
that's kind of what the film's about just don't listen to the noise. And the noise of the political system against the electric car in the United States right now is unbelievable. I don't know if you heard this, but Newt Gingrich said that nobody should buy one of these GM Bolts because you can't put a gun rack in it.
Yeah.
Now, there are arguments against electric cars, but that's not a particularly good one.
No.
And you can, if you wanted.
It's ridiculous rhetoric, isn't it? What would it take you, Jason, to buy an electric car?
Quite a bit, actually.
Change in price, or...?
No, nothing to do with the money. Unless you live in the country, and this is one of the kind of issues that I have, electric electricity has still got to be made, right? And generally it's got to be stored, and the storage capacity is the battery right now, and the batteries are the environmental bloody nightmare for the world.
Yeah.
Right. As soon as you can solve that problem, whether you make it a purely kind of solar-powered car, so that it's running kind of on the sun's rays rather than a battery, so you
still got to be able to store it though, don't you? And isn't that
whether
one
it's
of the biggest
direct
issues?
transfer of electricity from the sun into the motor.
Electricity that's the answer. Electricity. The problem is, how do you make the electricity?
Yeah.
And if you're doing it with coal, it's not much better than doing it with oil. Sometimes it's even worse.
Yeah.
But you can make electricity a million different ways. And what the oil industry won't tell you, for example, is how much electricity they use to refine oil into gasoline.
Yep.
In fact, it's something like 3 to 4 kilowatts, or maybe even more, per gallon. So if you just took that power, instead of putting it into the refinery, you put it right into your car, you're going 20 miles. So as you begin to look deeper and deeper in these things, you'll see that there's a lot of misinformation out there mysteriously coming from, and they don't want you to know what's actually happening. I've over the last 15 years, I've really become convinced, even with the problems you mentioned, that this is a good jump for us, because it means that you can start having things which operate clean.
At least California has started the conversation a long time ago, and there's things installed like charging stations, and there's little projects on the go all over the place, right? We haven't even begun to even think about the conversation here in New Zealand.
Really?
Well, I think we're fortunate that kind of most of our power is alternative, very clean power.
But converting our road fleet to electricity, they reckon the market will sort it out. I don't know.
You see, the market for gasoline cars is 100 years old, so they make so many millions of cars that the cost is amortized that they can make the money even if they sell the car for $10,000. Electric cars come in, they're only making a few thousand, so they can't make money right away.
It's a scale issue, isn't it? With especially with Tesla, although. There was something in the paper, even in our paper, in New Zealand's paper about Tesla last week.
Well, a lot of countries and states in the United States are giving credits to the industry for the first few years. And so you'll have a country like New Zealand or even Iceland, which is 100% green electricity, and they still import all their cars and all of their oil. And they could, if they just switched over, they wouldn't have that problem.
Yeah.
And I think New Zealand could benefit like that too.
Yeah. But I'm not sure we're forward-thinking enough.
Well, we have been such a great test country, depending on which way you look at it.
We're John Key's company.
Yeah, we're John Key's company. For early technologies like, moneyless banking, all that's purchases and that sort of thing. We were one of the first countries to go that way.
Phased traffic lights.
Yeah.
Also, in London, they're adopting we've got a little timer on our pelican crossings or pedestrian crossings, and London are taking those timers so that they reduce road mortality because people know how long they've got to cross the road before it turns.
Yeah, and you don't spend half your money on the military budget like we do in the States.
No, I think we've got an Air Force plane.
Yeah,
one of the ships,
a little boat. Anyway,
and we rely on others. To come out like the Home Guard.
This is Unscrewed with Jason Bryant, guest Chris Payne from Revenge of the Electric Car, which is the documentary festival that's making its way around New Zealand at the moment. All the times for that at documentaryedge.org.nz. But of course, Jason's brought in a bottle of wine.
Yep. Do you know? And there's a scary thing about wine as well. For each litre of wine, it takes between 25 and 50 litres of water.
Yeah, I know that.
Yeah. And it gets
every drop worth it.
Sometimes, and like cattle farming, to get the grass to turn over. There's an incredible amount of water that has to be put on the land in order to grow the grass and have the high density farming,
like that and cotton and
cotton, rice, all those.
What have you got?
Flying Mouton, Hawke's Bay Pinot Noir. Which is Hawke's Bay is not really synonymous with Pinot Noir at all, and it's a very unusual name as well. 2009, so 3 years old from kind of about now as well, because vintage is currently underway.
Yeah,
albeit in Hawke's Bay they've had some shocking weather.
It's been shocking all over.
Well, here last 3 weeks.
Yeah,
we've had beautiful. It's like summer, and even out there now the rain's gone. It's quite warm again.
Yeah.
And so here I am in my jumper.
They said, watch out, you're going to New Zealand in the winter. It doesn't seem like it. So
yeah, no.
Yeah, anyway.
So, Hawke's Bay Pinot. I really like Hawke's Bay Sauvignon. Whether they can actually reproduce that kind of character into their Pinot Noir, which is a cool climate grape, very thin-skinned.
I like it because the Pinots you've been bringing in over the past few months have not been from Otago, have they?
No, there's been some from Martinborough, Marlborough, and Waipara.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we've really got...
Cheers.
All the bases covered.
Oh.
I'll hand out
thank you.
The wine.
Oh, thank you.
Now, this is owned by Mr. Asawa, a Japanese investor in the country. And he's bought this, in 2004, he bought this property. I mean, obviously, the label, if you take away the gold medals, I mean, the label is not my type of label.
Yeah.
Too gimmicky.
Right.
Probably work overseas.
Okay. It's not straightforward.
It's what's in the bottle that is ultimately what it's all about.
All right.
Oh. Delicious. Amazing.
And this is $35. So, I mean, you're hitting kind of early central prices, kind of definitely Waipara prices, Marlborough prices. You're kind of above that. So for Hawke's Bay to be making Pinot Noir at $35, I mean, it's got to be damn good, right? Or you've got to have damn good marketing surrounding it.
All right.
What do you think?
Taste.
It's the first radio show I've ever had with great wine.
Every Friday.
All the rest have been bad. You'd be pretty well served.
I know.
In California there, right?
Yeah, but not in the radio stations.
Oh, right, sure.
We do have our fine.
So for me, it's quite... you do get those kind of red summer fruits, get the raspberries, all the red currants on the nose.
Yeah.
Quite a simple nose. It's all about that kind of red fruit, really fruit-forward palate.
Very dry.
You got this, but quite sweet-fruited. Still that red fruit character going right the way through. There's a little bit of spice there, but it's all about the fruit, nothing else. There's no other...
Yeah.
For me, there's no other thing going on, no minerality. There's obviously very well integrated oak into that. For me, it's almost like a barbecue wine.
Okay.
$35 barbecue wine is pretty steep.
Yeah, that's
and
what
now
I say. Yeah.
Pinot Noir is going to be high priced because you've got to hand pick it, thin skin, and so it's always going to be a bit more tricky to make and be a bit more expensive.
Yeah.
What percentage of the New Zealand wines are made in New Zealand? The ones you drink here. Do you import a lot?
We import a little bit, but 95%.
Wow.
Yeah, quite a parochial bunch.
Yeah.
We used to have a big import of Australian Shiraz.
Yeah.
And Chardonnay, and that's really declined.
Yeah. I guess if I say, like, what percentage of New Zealand wine is from New Zealand, I'm
yeah. But then you got that maybe 5 up to 10% import
from Australia,
and France, and yeah.
Well,
but they're really parochial. There's 2 great varieties here of Sauvignon Blanc and Pinot Noir that do exceptionally well internationally, and then everything else rides on the coattails of that.
And Chris, you've got an electric car, right?
I do. Not here, of course.
No. You didn't bring it over. So. But could you hop in your electric car, get up to the Napa Valley and back?
I'm in Southern California. I could.
Okay. That would be quite a way.
You could if you drive one of these plug-in hybrids, and like this GM Volt has that. I think the Toyota has a Prius that does it now. And in the Volt anyway, the first 40 miles you go, the gasoline doesn't kick on. So most days around town, you're always in electricity. And then when you have a long road trip one day, it kicks into gasoline. You have a 40-mile-per-gallon car after that. So this is a smart transition for a lot of people who are like worried, what if I'm going to run out of power? And I think they were smart to do that.
And talking about where that power comes from, don't you have solar panels on your roof, right?
Oh, yeah.
And
I mean, it's crazy in Southern California, especially not to have it, because you don't even need a very big roof. I have, one set of panels that charges my cars. So we literally never go to the gas.
I heard cars.
He's American, right?
Yes.
Yeah, we have a car for every day of the week in America. Yeah.
Crikey.
So obviously more than one electric.
I do.
You're fanatical about it, right?
Well, I never wasn't the biggest car guy, and this kind of got me into it. And since I do a lot of schools and tours and stuff, it's nice to have these cars around so I can bring different ones.
Yeah, sure.
And I've had the Tesla Roadster for almost 4 years now. That car's been amazing. And then my girlfriend's been driving the Nissan Leaf. We bought that car. That's been terrific. Yeah. And I hear they're even selling that in New Zealand now. Is that right? The Leaf?
Yes, I think they are. Yes, I heard that. And,
I've never heard of it.
Isn't Ford is the new Ford Mustang?
Well, in the States, there's a Ford Focus.
Focus.
Yeah. So the point is that 5 years ago, all the car makers were saying this will never work. Nobody will ever want one. We'll never build them. And now almost everybody is doing it, not because they're trying to be green, but because they can see they're going to make money as oil prices go up, and that's a good thing.
So therefore, the market is kind of working in that respect.
Yeah, but thanks to government incentives, and
right.
You just need to have them because cars are expensive, and you want something that's going to be safe and going to do the job. Go to wine country. How far is the wine country from here?
You don't have to go far at all.
About 20 minutes.
Yeah, you should walk there.
At least bike.
A bike. Yeah. Okay. Well, that's the ultimate transport.
Yeah. And then you'd be able to.
But one of the problems is that New Zealand is a bit like America, and it's so very car centric that cycling on the roads is pretty darn dangerous.
Yeah, in the States too. It's too bad because if it was a little safer, more people would do it.
It would be even worse with electric vehicles, right? Because you never hear them coming.
Well, no, one of the cars, this is a Toyota, have put something on their cars that makes it sound like a normal engine so that pedestrians...
Is that right?
Yeah.
Oh, heck, you can get these sound devices that can make your electric car sound like a Lamborghini or a 66
so that people
Volkswagen.
can hear you coming.
So boy racers will be fitting it, because we have this thing called boy racers in New Zealand where they lower their cars and they do things to the exhaust and they make the exhaust go psh every time they change. So you'd have to...
Blow off valves.
Yeah, but the good thing about electric cars and bikes is that when they're sitting next to you on a hill or something, you're not like getting cancer as you know.
Yeah, that's...
And there's no emission. You don't mind the car so much. Yeah. So there's a lot of pluses.
Yeah. And if the electricity going to run the car is green electricity, I think that's it's really good for a country.
It's double win. Yeah. And that money stays here. One thing in the States is $1 billion is leaving the country every day to build some skyscraper in Abu Dhabi and a Swiss watch or something. If we kept that money in the States, we could actually do light rail and all that.
Just quickly, interesting, I saw a CNN story actually saying that China are moving a lot of manufacturing into America.
Lower wages.
Because of lower wages.
Oh, geez.
I think it's a really interesting twist on the situation.
Things in the world are problematic when China starts exporting its industry to countries.
We're getting it from Australia. Apparently Australia are moving some of their industry into New Zealand with the lower wages as well,
That's carnage, isn't it?
That's depressing.
That's going to end up in war.
We're all becoming a Mexico of someone else.
Oh, that's on
the nose.
The political hot potato.
Isn't it just?
Yeah.
When I was here in the 80s, Twiggy Muldoon or something, or is that right?
Yeah, Muldoon.
Yeah, he was the prime minister there, and people had short words for that guy.
Right.
Has the political system stabilized since then?
It's fairly generic
compared to those
system.
days. Yeah, it has really actually.
I mean, there's no left and right.
Really?
You've got right and green.
Yeah.
And that's it these days.
Yeah.
Oh, I wish we had that in the States at least. We have right and
and right.
Right.
And writer.
And writer.
But we need to wrap this up. The documentary will be screening when?
No website
soon.
Has all the things.
Go along to documentaryedge.org.nz where you'll find all the screening times for all the various documentaries, including Revenge of the Electric Car. Chris Payne is the director of that, and he's been our guest as part of Unscrewed here in the Kiwi studio with Jason Bryant. Thanks very much to you both.
The points on the wine?
Yes.
87 points.
That's not bad. 87. All right. Okay, cool.
All right.
And